Do you know what the greatest sin of this season is? That it's actually a good show. But it's only a good show after being an amazingly awesome one. It's fast-paced now, where it was always slow-paced. But there's part of me that says, even if we had 10 or 15 episodes left, there was a lot of story here.
Welcome to the heart of the stories we tell. My name is Rob, and tonight I will be reviewing
Episode 5. And boy am I sick and tired of not having the name of the episode until after the episode airs. I'm sure that the long and short of this is the same way George is planning on having the books go. I'm sure that there's a lot going on here that Dan and Dave were told probably years ago about how the story ends. And I'm sure that it'll make a lot more sense when Winds of Winter and A Dream of Spring comes out, because we will see what gets us here, and that's going to be different. But at the end of the day, all of these story points, for good or ill, the entire concept, the whole idea of that which looks into the abyss must be careful or the abyss looks back at you, the character arc, it's all there one and the same. Now, for those of you that don't know, what I do here is I examine stories, I react to them, I review them like this, and sometimes I come up with theories on how and why we tell stories. And this one's a pretty simple one. It's entertaining. So if that sounds interesting to you, click the subscribe button and join us here every week, even though there's only 1 week left of Game of Thrones. Before we get too far into this episode, there is one other thing I want to point out from this entire season and part of last. Starving people out is not more humane than burning them. At the end of the day, both are pretty much torture. A siege would be torture. Yeah, more people will live through a siege than will live through burning down King's Landing. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure one is a more humane combat tactic. Quick death or slow, agonizing one. Remember what Stannis was saying. But okay, let's kick this up there and get started.
So once again, it's stop. Spoiler time. Ba-da-na-na.
As we watched Jon and Arya move throughout King's Landing during the sacking, I'm left to wonder, what did Ned Stark think when he came through the sacking of King's Landing during Robert's Rebellion? How different was that? I mean, yeah, no dragons, but still. It's pretty amazing. And I do love that Dany even calls out the Sansa pretty much won with her tactic of getting Tyrion to tell people. Because what is it that they said in Iron Man 2? Once you make God bleed, people will cease to believe in him. And then there'll be blood in the water, and the sharks will come. I think all of that is something George would write too. I also remember the fact that this is George's version of Lord of the Rings. And in Lord of the Rings, there's a very specific moment at the end. The Scourge of the Shire. The main threat has been defeated. Sauron has fallen. But Saruman has laid claim to home. And at the end of the day, there's still one last battle to fight. And I think that's where they are now in the TV series. And it seems kind of weird, but it's kind of fantasy trope in and of itself now. And I think that the books are going to do this too, although I'm not sure it's going to be Cersei. I think it'll just be Euron. But that's a discussion for another day. This was a pretty bittersweet ending. We got quite a few things happening, including I don't even know what to call it other than the massacre at King's Landing. The burning of innocent men and women and children. The real enemy tonight wasn't Cersei. Obviously wasn't the Night's King. It was Dany. And I kind of feel like, yeah, they've set this up a little, but not full-on crazy Dany like she was here. Like, I don't know. This felt like a bit too far. A bit too much for what was going on. And yeah, I understand that she's pissed off and that they needed to make Jon the hero some way again. And Jon was trying, but it's hard. And at moments like this, I wonder, how much chaos, how much death and destruction. I mean, at this point, is there even a Seven Kingdoms left? Are there any heroes left? And of course, we know there are. But then again, that also reminds me of what specifically George thinks about heroes. Heroes might be a hero today that saves the day, but tomorrow they might just be the person who dies, and last Tuesday they might have been some asshole. At the end of the day, heroes are something you become in the moment, not something you are forever. And I think that was showcased tonight too. I think that we saw Arya, who was amazing, and killed the Night's King, not able to do anything to stop the massacre at King's Landing. And I think there was some great poetry with her, and I guess we got Clegane Bowl instead of getting the Valonqar prophecy, which I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that were like, ooh, get hyped, Clegane Bowl. But I don't know, I've kind of felt that fell kind of flat. And I'm kind of upset that there wasn't more of a love story between Jon and Dany. The entire problem being that, I don't know, I think that if you were an average guy or even an above average guy, that if your aunt looked like Emilia Clarke, odds are you would not have the problem that he did. But yeah, everything else came down to this. Crazy Cersei and Jaime dying, just the two of them mattering. Euron happy he killed the Kingslayer? I don't know. I don't know what they were doing with him in the show. And I'd say King's Landing all but destroyed. At the end of the day, everything has been pretty much lost. And we're left to wonder what comes next. And of course, there's only one thing that can come next. One more Dance of Dragons, one final victory for Cersei. Because I don't think Dany's going to get that throne either. But let me know what you think down below. Specifically, do you think that this was too rushed, too drawn out? Are you upset that this is ruining how things are going to end in the book, or do you think that they've gone so far off script? I'd really like to discuss a lot of these things once the series ends next week, but let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section. For now, let me ask you also to do all the things that everyone asks you to do here on YouTube. So, like and share, and if you haven't already, click that subscribe button. And I'm going to take this moment to give a big shout out thanks to all of my Patreons that make these videos possible. For now, I'm still digesting where we are, why, and how. So I'm still trying to get to the heart of this particular story. I hope you have a good night, and thanks for watching.